either way. You don't know that. There are drugs that make you insane. Absolutely. I'm saying if you do it, you go to jail, you die. That's it. If you do it, you go to jail, you die. But if you were prescribed certain medication by medical doctors, just plain devil's advocate, okay? Medical doctors, you have postpartum depression, whatever it is, I want to kill myself. They give you 10 drugs, okay? And those drugs induce a psychotic state. Are they, like, you're trusting your doctors, you're getting medical advice? You don't know. So what is their responsibility? Michael Jackson went to jail for murder or for manslaughter because he prescribed him way too much. So my doctor put me on painkillers. I got addicted. They got out my life for a long time, but guess what? That's on me to change that. Every case is different, but I'm just saying if you have doctors that put you into a state of psychosis, I'm telling you right now, legally, kill your kids. Obviously, I know the crime. We're using this very hard case. When get adjudicated, right? These are what we do. Does it play any factor?
I mean, you could say it does or it doesn't, but at the end of the day, once the crime is committed, are you completely just...
That's what makes it so hard. That's one is accountability, because it's a hard... Right?
And then
now, what you can do is just go, we can make it really simple. You're going to jump. And then work all that stuff out. Yourself, not a psychiatrist.
If you tell the consumer the whole going to get the treatment that she deserves, like the justice she deserves. Now, another case.
It's not how it's, but that's not how it works.
It should.
Really, no case works that way. All cases have extenuating circumstances. If it is 10 different drugs that put her in a state of psychosis, I'm telling you right now, Laura's going to have a field.
If you start, and I don't know how you feel, but if you start completely attacking just the doctor, now doctor's going to be a lot less likely, just for plain devil's advocate. If you're a doctor, now you're going to be a lot less likely.
If you think that's not going to come up, you're crazy.
I'm sure that you really know it's going to happen, but I would say those doctors, they prescribe these doctors, they don't have to. But I would say how many in the United States, how many people prescribe this medicine? I don't know if you do it. How many strangle drink to their kids? Again, that's you're ask. Is it again? You're asking what the prosecutor's asking. So, million moms, how many strangled their children one by one? Yes, but this is their one interest. They don't usually get medication. She's a good person. Oh, God, but they don't get medications. There's people like that. You can Google it if you want to. There's people that take their medication. No, but so let's do that. So postpartum depression. Yeah, let's do that. Just tell me how many moms have postpartum 10 different medications? 2 men? No. Now, how many strangled their kids one by one? Only one. Gotcha. That doesn't matter. You can rest your case, but you're the person you're trying to prosecute. It's actually not. It's not a strong enough argument. You told me a lot about postpartum. I didn't really know much about it.
I don't need
This case.
I don't know about medication or
When I see some unhinged people,
I don't know. Find at least one psychiatric prescription. And very few have 10. If it's 10, by the way, I'm just from Kansas Owens. I have no idea. I don't look into this shit. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. It's true that certain medications will cause you to actually off yourself. So it's not a big stress. You know what I'm saying? Think about offing yourself on a medication. That's like the most extreme thing in the world, right?
but it is a side effect of a lot of medication.
Yeah.
And versions like if you feel diarrhea or like you let yourself, you know,
Right.
yeah. And it's possible.
Yes. What does that mean? You're out of your mind. You're not a.
She should spend the rest of her life in a. Are you saying that she should?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying lot of questions.
Which does not mean she was taking all three at the same time. Of course she wasn't taking all three at the same time. Also, what's she doing with the one? I can also read exactly how many issues they got at the same time during the final 2 days.
This is somebody who is already, like, think about all those drugs. 13 haven't worked. Like, you're crazy.
Trazodone, okay, Ativan is basically Xanax. Valium is a muscle relaxer. Dawn is like that. Just taking Valium. So she's taking a lot of anxiety medication. Trazodone is basically just like
She was a walking pharmacy, by the way.
that's a problem.
It's a little problem. But this is what
That's medications.
I might be coming over to because
My question would be, was she an awesome person before that?
I mean, it's not a bad question. It's not a bad question.
She was a fucking moron. I want to know she was a terrible person. And now she's blaming on medication. She drank a 3. She sucked. Most people that suck on the shit, like when we talk about Aaron Hernandez, was he an awesome person before? Was Charles Manson an awesome person before? No, they all suck, dude. Great. They all suck. They all suck. They all suck. They're all bad people.
Nurse, somebody, wonderful mother.
It's a very complicated thing. Does her mom and coworkers say she was awesome? So,
Children.
she had like a nanny. She had all this help as well. We're saying that.
She actually just went, it is a thing where she's thinking there are people who's part of this. And when you're taking that many women deal with it, I don't know the
Yes, I could live on it.
anti-anxiety drugs lead to psychosis. Yes. Yeah. So you're dealing with a lot of shit. And your brain goes crazy. But is roid rage a real thing?
What trend it is?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So there's a drug that the guy took of the happily married man. Dude, who was fucking dudes in bus stations, like happily married, and then was like, oh, start banging guys. He's always that's our here's a picture. That guy's always aggressive.
I will say this about that.
Man, come on, we gotta get something.
I have. Didn't want to fight dudes. Didn't hurt anybody. This is all nonsense. Well, you're a compromised by rage isn't real. You're already a dick. And you take this stuff and you do yourself. You're ready to do everything. Relax, dude. It's all. I got cancer all the time. That lady sucked before all this. Aaron Hernandez sucked before the killings. Wait, you're a better one. Didn't have just that guy sucked.
You're a mean judge. You're
Trying to have a no bullshit.
So you just bring the gavel down.
When people like this broke culture, like, dude, I took this testosterone, I got super aggressive. Dude, I took this testosterone, I started sucking guys on the voice. It's in there. It's in there.
A lot of times, you text your home team, anyone follow that guy, silent. 2 months later, you know the customer's already moved on, got married, started a new business, and retired. At some point, it's just like, let's fucking whoa. Right? That's why I said, that's why you like, whoa, kill you, whoa. No, you never miss your call
In one place, so anyone on your team can see full history can respond fast. Nothing but 90,000 business as it says, set up built-in AI panels after our calls, answer questions, even books appointments. Google integrates team already. Uses like HubSpot. So many more. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo.
Try Quo for free. Get 20% off .com/fighter. That's QUO.com/fighter. Try it out.
Sure, there's no outflow. It tastes like we call it chimichurri, things like that. All the but chilada. Try this good. Right. Drink that one. That's all water.
Give me something else. Cheers.
Yeah. Alright, so this is a sad day. We say it was a sad day. Yeah. Dolly Parton passed away. I thought she was like 100 or something like that, but then she's barely 80 years old. So
She really
dying.
Yeah, sure did. She was like the last ashtray. Friends with her makeup artist, her stylist. And her stylist, one time, he never saw her without makeup. He never saw her like without being put together. And one time she was like, she didn't have makeup on, and he was like, "Hey, sir," and she had a camera in her hand, and she flapped the picture at us. It was like that. That was the only time you ever saw her. She was a virgin. She was so right up to God. And like just free and stayed sweet clean, just always classic.
You know, Tracy, at this point, it's always somebody who is out there that would sound like.
Yeah, quickly she was at a hard time.
First, the thing they're saying is it was a private battle with Canada. I'm sure we're always up on murder mysteries. But it was being military. And there's no known harm. They just got
Show her this.
She's a great. That's what our military.
No, it's certainly a choice. I don't like to be with the world thing. So I just decided that I was going to come and let them, they would see there was. I appreciate it. I'm very real where it counts, and that's inside. As far as my outlook on life and the way I care about people and the way I about myself and the things that I care about. But I just chose money making jokes. Like, jokes. Do you feel that you're a joke? People make fun of you. Actually, all these years, it's not the joke on me, but it's actually been on the public. I know exactly at any time where I make more jokes about myself than anybody. Because I enjoy it. I know, like I said, I am sure of myself as a person. I'm sure of my talent. And I'm sure of my love and for life. And that's something I'm very content. I like the kind of person that I am. So around with makeups and clothes and stuff. Because I am secure with myself.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's a car. She's got some cars on.
She can fuck off.
She can.
She's good.
This one coming in the corners. It seems like I'm just kind of. Yeah. Why? Which one's the where it's there? The knee pad. It has like knee pads. I have like also right.
Trying to fight with the backpack on, so.
Like you just roll in there. Bro, stop. We're not into these kind of just wrestle his feet, getting pretzel fighting over each driver's not a good look. Seems like a handful of oh, yeah, mountain. It's a project in Milligan. Snap. You know, it helps in fights when girls yell, stop it. That's his helmet on. Super tight pants, these skin. What is his head here? White chain. We're not psychotic drugs. We're not a psychotic break. Was he on anti? I was okay until the wings. I heard she's screaming, yelling, screaming. This guy does nothing. They want to be like hardcore dudes and like. Nothing. The guy with the tight pants and matching it the ball. Just awesome. Everyone's building exactly the same. No, that's not true. It looks like a contained kitchen. He's hiding behind the desk. They haven't got the memo. So the tight jeans are not in place now. So especially in this kid, right? KFC is the best. We'll just take. Yeah, that's what he says.
We had a major incident today at Barstool, New York headquarters as a delivery man picked a fight with one of our content creators, forcing security to jump in the mix and save the day. All-out melee in the lobby of our office.
Dave, put your knee in his just watch the same scene. So here living one kid. But did KFC say why the guy attacked the other guy? It was just an argument over the food. There's no real reason for it. How is that? Go ahead.
Barcelona, they went crazy for an attack our security team. That's one of the things I was hyping. How I handle this situation. So you'll notice here, I immediately run right pre-handle. Seems like they got it. And I got a nasty hit in the back of my head. Let me back up. Let me secure the perimeter here. I'll make sure we come secure the perimeter right here. Everyone's safe, still assessing the situation, assessing my ass off. Everything looks fine. And then I say, you know what? Actually, I'm going to back in this. Get there. Well, that seems like you're definitely still behind back up. That's why they're making get involved in this. Make sure the death is safely on that death. Make sure that's all good. You know, again, this is what we call a monitoring situation. And then I back up a little bit. I tell this girl, get behind. Get behind me. It's okay to get behind. Come on, put us down. Come on, buddy. I want a little more. This time, yeah. I'm bringing my voice with me. Next thing you know, I've assembled a full room to make sure that we have this situation monitored and handled safely. And then taken out behind me. He's like sensing hiding behind me. But yeah. Overall, definitely win. So just a lot of the action. Thanks to me and Dan are both okay. A couple bumps and bruises. Your lower back hurts a little bit, but that was space. A little bit congested, but I don't think that's related. But you know, credit to Dan, Gaz, Cody, Travi, me, everyone else for really stepping in there.
That's really good how I stopped the fight. It's not bothering me though. You know, that's the best way you could. Yeah, or you know, it seems like it's really, dude, you're running up close. Yeah. He's like, I'll make this down. That was fun.
So I started like maybe this guy's something.
A lot of people who've never been in a fight before, when they see it actually happen, you know they're happening in a real life situation, might not be ready for that fight. Exactly same thing. But this is Jake York, owner of the 49ers. So we already know right now that he earned $40. That was execution. That's on like true backyard too. Because it's the first $140. Sexual activity. But when York showed up to the meeting spot, which just happened to be in Trailer Park, Ohio, was it reliable that he was arrested by the police? York was arrested on suspicion of possessing criminal tools. Authorities say the criminal tool was his cell phone, which allegedly was used to rape Camino. As we stated earlier, prostitution charges were later amended to misdemeanor disorderly conduct, and York pleaded no contest to that charge of possessing criminal tools. He was one day in jail, count serving concurrently with credit time served for $1,150 in fines. The NFL is getting involved, telling teams who sports is reviewing the arrest rule of the personal conduct policy. We will keep you updated as we learn.
By the way, just important to note, he's a billionaire, but he also important to know that he was divorced. He was single, and you know, probably like, hey, I'm bored. I'm better. Yeah, there's so many ways to get sure. He was probably again, it's like, would this be like? I think if you are everything like sometimes you'll try to but also you're the face of the franchise. Anyone who knows him, and I know him, it's enormous love. He's about as down to earth as it gets, and he's got a great sense of humor. He's a great dad. And he just kind of like, he just could have got the first two single. He's probably like, oh, you know what? He said he was married, so if he's single, it's alright. He's like, you know what? Yeah. I mean, well, let's see. Foreigners, alright, we go get picture of the girl was hot. You just got it's a sting operation, so they probably, honey, they probably right. And he talks 2-hour drive, and you're on the road, like 2 hours in trailer park. That's kind of hot in a weird way. But it's a little easy to do, so it just isn't really there. It's two consenting adults. Yeah, I gotta be. You're not knocked down at this run of the gun. It's very. As far as like. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. Actually, agree with him on this. Everything that's going to prostitution websites, luring guys essentially, and getting them to agree that we'll pay X, and we want you to go to a certain address. They pick a mobile home park. It has nothing to do with anything other than the cops want to place this guy. So they go to the mobile home park and they wait and they watch York come on, they nab him and they arrest him and they charge him with soliciting a prostitute. So eventually it's plea bargained down to disorderly conduct. So they spend all this time and these resources. To this guy being just because there's minor sexual what? Before I get into the prostitution laws, that's to the mobile home park. All of a sudden, the mobile home park is national news that a prostitute there, prostitutes there, and people make fun of it. And all of a sudden, the people in this mobile are subject to all of this scorn and ridicule. And they didn't do the police to catch this guy and catch him for what? What is the difference between exactly off of that. What's the difference? There's money, okay, crime, and one is okay. The reality is, this shouldn't be a law is about. This shouldn't be how policemen their lives. I mean, if you want to take the dream, how many people love and that because they get a credit card, and if you don't think that exists, you're not living in the real. My wife, that happens. So the idea that we're carving this out, and if it's one who is being trafficked, like then prosecute the person engaged in human trafficking for sure. But if this is something between two people where they exchange money, just like that happens eventually with OnlyFans, or somebody marrying somebody. This must be so take my arm and shit. There's at one point where it's like, I'll talk away sometimes. Well, yeah, I need some other parts, but I want a friendly staff. I want to make sure that if they don't have it in stock, they have it at least online. I don't want to change my battery when I'm still in the vehicle. Do you know anybody that can help me, Brett? One place I know, Riley Auto Parts. They're a one-stop shop for all things auto. You can put what you need in store online. If they don't have it, ask them if it's in the back, or they order it. Shows up same day or next day. I absolutely love my peeps at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Parts today. Visit them at O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter. O'Reilly. Hello and welcome to Pluto Folk. If you know the name of the movie you would like to see, just for free on Pluto TV. All your blockbuster favorites are Legend, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Fantastic. The Matrix Trilogy. Mean Girls. Titanic. And so much more. For Showtime. Press nothing. They're free. Pluto TV. 48 hours trail. Any Crime House, the official podcast, famous true crime series, the first 48. Thursday, I revisit a landmark homicide investigation in depth on the story. Listen to and follow Apple Podcasts. You listen to podcasts. This is so great. Hi, John Philistine. Just as if John already ruined his career enough. As if John Jones had caused. Let's just get past this guy. Nobody has an art. Damn it. I just want to see you. You decided to do it in your personal life as well. And before you look, he said, he's just being friendly. Nothing that a 40-year-old man with multiple wives would ever do. He starts by saying, where are you from? He says, Korea. And he proceeds to say, you have quite the personality. Didn't realize that Korean women's like that. I'll run from shit. He's being silly. He's funny. I take it back. This guy's being silly. So at the beginning, you gotta be funny speed. But this has been posted other places too. But I was just like you guys. I want to see who it is. This is pictures. This is one of them. There are a lot of women that hit John John. They're yellow. There are a lot of women that hit John John. I'm saying it's just this is 5-1. Or it could just be a friendly thing. Yeah, but else was she dancing? She was dancing.
I couldn't find her name. Yes. I don't know what's I was gonna bring up was a jelly roll. That's that jelly roll. What is his steak cook? Sorry, there's no offline. So yeah, these guys. And the pasta sauce. Yeah, it's really good. Is it going to be a biopic? Is it going to be a theater? Is it going to be Netflix? I think so. Is it Netflix? Wow. Check that out. Yeah. Can you watch it now? Looks like it's on. He changed comedy, right? He was like to turn 80 so much money. Yeah, it looks really good. Like, me too. Tuesday, that's it. I have me where you be this weekend. I'll be in Miami Improv, buddy. I'll be in Yep. So we'll see you guys then. I'm excited. Yeah, come anywhere. It's gonna be all. Alright, kids, that's it. This is the podcast. We're out.
No one really knows for sure if they're looking. I don't know if this is in order to look out. It is the 13th of the look, 5786. There's no Congress on the 6th. Evening George 4. 244 days. 6, 83 days. 3761 Christian World Birth Lab. Over 3631 137. 35 72 35 Enoch 7 Shepherd 130 36 325 Kingdom 79 61 33 66 395 Mahalo son of Kingdom 133 1 460 son of Mahalo 1 31 39 600 Hannah son of the earth 1 30 24 687 Methuselah Hannah 1 28 87 82 7 930 Adam died 27 5 22 25 15 36 7 knows 122 04 15 57 times 7 knows 1 2105 16 56 105 16 56 the great flood covered the earth. Forget now, him and now, I'm Shahid Kanu. Keep Ian Martin with the Hebrew.
I completely agree with Ron. You were runs here.
You actually did.
Concepts of Abrahamic theology, especially in the Christian and Islamic faiths, is that the lower wave forces represented by God and the great angelic army, and those of evil represented, of course, by Satan or Iblis and the great demonic horde. Over the centuries, theologians, mysticultists have drawn up incredibly complex hierarchies of such beings, with the names, paths, even their final destiny detailed in a range of texts, from canonical biblical scriptures, books allegedly revealed by such entities, to texts whose origins remain to this day rather Philippines and demons continues to fascinate, terrify, and inspire billions of believers all over the world. But what do we know about the origin of these entities in the Abrahamic tradition? To rewind the clock back, among others, what do we know of the earliest stratum of Israelology? In this episode, we're going to do just that. Explore the demonological ecology of the ancient Israelites. If you're interested in magic philosophy, make sure to subscribe. Check out my other content on topics in esotericism. Also, if you want to support my work of providing accessible, scholarly, and free content esotericism here on YouTube, consider supporting my work on Patreon or perhaps people at once incredibly popular and yet at the same time rather mysterious. The ancient Israelites and their demonology. I'm Dr. Justin Sledge, and welcome to Esoterica, or the Arcane and Religion. The Israelites were among the groups of people of the ancient Levant that we typically call the Canaanites. They come into history in the century BCE and go on to claim as the progenitors of the Abrahamic including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, among others. Their writings are preserved in inscriptions, letters, and perhaps most famously in the Qumran, a collection of texts that we now call the Hebrew Bible or the Christian Old Testament. To get a grasp of the demonological landscape of the Israelites, we need to turn to that literature, though with an eye to nearby cultures and writings. Of course, the ancient Israelites didn't exist in a vacuum, and their culture was influenced by and a reaction to their neighbors, like any culture. So, what do we mean by demon? Well, the term itself has a complicated history, and what we're doing in this episode is a bit anachronistic, just to be honest. That said, for the purposes of this episode, we're going to mean by demon something like supernatural being, well, at least malevolent to us human beings, but malevolent. As we'll see, this gets really complicated, but as a provisional definition, it's about the best that we can do. What's perhaps most conspicuous about such entities in ancient Israelite religious culture and in relationship to their neighbors, and here I'm thinking about the Egyptian and Mesopotamian religious cultures, is just the dearth of such. We just don't see much in the way of angel or demons or other kinds of supernatural non-God beings. Ancient didn't have much in the way of demons or angels for that matter until the rise of apocalyptic Judaism in the Persian period. Hundreds of demons are known from ancient Egypt, many with really high profile roles, and there, for instance, Ahmed is perhaps the most famous. This demon has the lower body and the head of a crocodile, and it eats the souls of those found unjust in the house of the afterlife. I mean, they're the dead, so yeah, they eat your soul. And the Egyptians were rightly terrified of them, and though proliferate in ancient Egypt, typically these beings are the dense of or said to in the Semitic Akkadian language, and famous of such beings, Pazuzu, king of the demons of the wind, brother of the monster Humbaba of Gilgamesh fame, the sun god Hanpi, and possessor of the little dragon from Exodus. Of similar fame is the demoness Lamashtu, killer of infants and children, who would have been the demoness Lilith many centuries later. As I mentioned a moment ago, if one were to survey doing, the first thing that you would notice is there aren't many such beings around, and it's almost always in passing, and there's virtually no backstories for these beings. People that composed and redacted like literature or the Testament were simply either suppressing such a nature, or were disinterested in such beings, or that such beings just did roll in their mythology. And sure enough, if you shifted the religious paradigm to a battle of good versus evil, which remains basically the dominant paradigm today. The ancient and archaic paradigm was a chaos versus order paradigm. This more archaic mythology shows that Baal, Marduk, and Yahweh defeating the forces of chaos, often in the form of terror. Sea monsters like Tiamat, Yam, and Leprechaun in the Bible. And it's perhaps most apparent in the book, especially toward the end, and in Psalm 74. So one of the major reasons that angels and demons just don't play much role in this very early stratology central paradigm here just isn't good versus evil, with chaos having been conquered in the medieval past. Now, that's not to say that malevolent supernatural beings aren't present. There just aren't mythologically central like they become later, after the religious revolution of apocalypticism starting in the Persian period. Indeed, in that paradigm, the major drama or religious conflict is moved from the primeval past to the future. So what do we know about such demon-like entities in this very early period, say from roughly 1200 or 1000 BCE to roughly around 586 BCE? Divide such beings into three groups. There are personified malevolent forces, designed council, and there's a kind of grab bag of otherwise obscure beings that seem to inhabit the wilderness and wastelands of ancient Israel. Note what's missing here. There really isn't much in the chthonic or beings that emerge from the underworld. The reason why has to do with their underworld or afterlife. This realm isn't a place of punishment, but a kind of gloomy, dark place in action. While the dead there's no conception of their hell. There's no means to live or emerge from there. I've actually done a whole episode on the Israelite concept or Sheol. You can click the card above if you want to learn more about it. So let's take each category in turn. First with malevolent personifications. Perhaps the most ancient of these is death itself. Death or Moloch was a god widely conquered by Baal and Canaanite mythos formed this personification of death in the Hebrew Bible. Though Israelite writers, probably in the interest of divorcing their mythology from their neighbors, battering winds are sometimes also personified, and one kind of recalls the western wind demon Zizu, which brings drought. And this is also connected to mold or death in Canada. Though the entities here are typically various of sickness, including mental illness, personifications, generally. In fact, going there and combat for pestilence and fever with depression, probably coming from the root, which means burning, as in a burning fever. Of course, plague demons are widely attested in the ancient world, and a great deal of ancient medicine, especially ancient medicine, had to do as much with exorcism as it did with what we would now recognize as medicine such as the use of various kinds of pharmacological drugs. What's worth pointing out here, however, is that such personifications of disease in the Hebrew Bible are almost always under the direct command of Yahweh and not independent beings as such. Illness or insanity is also attested specifically to the first Israelite soul. Here we find a from Yahweh or evil spirit from a being sent to afflict the king with some kind of mental illness that causes him to fly into rages and fall into hostile members of the Divine Council. The concept of the Divine Council is rather archaic and does survive into Israelite mythology despite the eventual emergence of monotheism. This is likely a role let us make in first Genesis creation story, but also appears in Special 2, which strikes me as a rather archaic Israel move. Those of the Divine Council then demoted non-divine beings in Israelite mythology and are generally attached to specific tasks on behalf. Several such beings seem especially for our study in the Hebrew Bible. The king, or Ahab, who is actually a testament outside the Bible, and in order to do so, a ruse is required to have him killed on the To accomplish this, Yahweh inquires of the ability to deceive Ahab volunteers to become or a deceptive spirit of Goet of Ahab's prophet, which will cause him to go to battle. Now, despite the true prophecy of Yahweh, the deceptive is successful and one of my favorite stories. It reveals Yahweh capable of being a cunning and deceptive God. So many tiny theological texts or even kind God. I enjoy this account because it complicates Yahweh in Israelite theology generally more interesting, if not a little terrifying. One might label as the Malach HaMashchit, or the messenger of destruction. Well, also the messenger or angel of the Lord, or angel of Yahweh. This is primarily to have the grim mass executions striking down Israelites and Egyptians alike. The only description of this institution had by tiny proportions of this being, such as with a sword drawn in its hand extending over all of Jerusalem. Perhaps the most terrifying appearance of the Hamashchit, or the destroyer, is the final of the 10 plagues sent on the ancient Egyptians. There the Israelites are warned to smear lamb's blood above their doorposts, such that the Mashchit will pass over their homes as it stalks from the first horn of the cattle to the ocean of the god King Son. Of course, this is truly demonic, probably was from the Egyptian perspective, but this will eventually be transformed into the Malach HaMavet, or the angel of death. If you want to know more about the history and development of the angel, make sure to check out my episode on that link in the card. Of course, the other member of the Divine Council worth mentioning here is the Satan. Yes, the Satan. This being is always identified, which means something like the accuser or the adversary. Is a title rather than a name. The Bible, rather, Satan is a title of a member of the Divine Council who act as either kind of prosecuting attorney against human beings, or otherwise obstructs on the command of Yahweh. This entity has the Yahweh, Satan, torture a dude, kill his family, basically with a dead. I mean, Yahweh does give him some more stuff and another family in the end after questioning why Yahweh would this happened to him in the beginning. family, I mean, dead family. I beat up a sea monster one time. I like that. Whatever. The Satan also blocks the way of the prophet Balaam, but is never linked with, for instance, the talking Genesis creation story, nor with the Malach Yahweh or the angel of the Lord, which I mentioned a moment ago, sometimes goes on a rampage and kills a bunch of people for stuff or evil stuff. It links with Satan, and in the process by which the Satan becomes just, Satan or the devil, especially in Christian and Islamic mythology. The process is going to have to be the topic of a future episode, how a title of a being became the devil, but those elements are yet present in